Welcome back to the Arise interview with me, Christian Ogodo. I still have the coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Eneche. Before we went on break, yes, I was going to ask you, the wanton killings in Kaduna, it's been a mixed bag. Yes, ordinarily you say it's supposed to be a police operations, but this has overwhelmed the police completely. There's supposed to be a curfew there. The Nigerian Army Operation Safe Haven, the Southern Kaduna falls under the jurisdiction. Is the army helpless in the face of these marauders who come in and annihilate the people of Southern Kaduna?
I will not say the Operation Safe Corridor, because Operation Safe Corridor comprises of the 3 services and even other security agencies, police, civil defense and all. I will not say we are helpless in that regard, but there are remote issues of which the present commander on the ground has tried severally to resolve since he resumed in that command. That's Major General Okonkwo. I get the reports almost on a daily basis. I don't think if I speak this on the air, it will be too good. But a lot of effort has been made, focusing on some underlying issues, remote causes.
What are these remote causes?
I will not be able to mention
land,
one.
Grabbing,
No.
Intertribal
that one,
conflicts.
I will say that it is geopolitical, and our political masters are handling it, and then the traditional and the cultural people. But this issue of reprisal, that is what our commander, is part of our CIMIC activities, civil military cooperation activities, and non-kinetic activities. From history of conflicts, if that area is not addressed by all the stakeholders decisively, you will continue to have repeat of what we have there. That's why I say we are not helpless. You will talk to this group today, don't do this, forgive and forget and settle yourself. You call for a roundtable meeting, they will agree with you, only for you 24 hours, 48 hours later. If I make some expositions now, it's like predicting what will happen in the next 24, 48 hours. I can tell it's rather unfortunate. The coordinator is part of whatever plans they make, what the planning, whatever they do, a report so that we can package our narrative well.
Because truthfully, it is very shocking.
So it is not that we are helpless, but like I've said, there are remote issues that must be resolved, and that have lingered for years.
And cannot be resolved militarily.
Not militarily, yes. And it's not me. I'm not in the position to begin to speak on that. I don't have that permission. Okay,
let's thank you very warmly, Major General John Eneche, Coordinator, Defense Media Operations. Thank you for coming on the Arise interview. Okay, people are being killed daily in Southern Kaduna, Plateau, and territories belonging to minorities in the north. The Nigerian and Kaduna State governments appear helpless, but General Eneche say, no, not so. Concerns are still mounting over the spate of killings in these areas. A Christian group in the Southern Kaduna area has called on President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration to show more concern about the killings, or they will be forced to resort to self-help. And Diaspora Nigerians say it is time for the United Nations to intervene and send a special rapporteur for Nigeria for the UN to stop the carnage. However, the Kaduna State government says it remains committed to ending the legacy of violence that's blighted the state for 40 years. And for more on this, I'm now being joined by distinguished Senator Shehu Sani. He's a human rights activist and a politician. He was in Nigeria's 8th Senate. Nice seeing you. Not so much of a happy moment, at least for people from Kaduna State, and you are even caught in this web. The question is, there have been several white paper reports on the Kaduna crisis, including the most recent one by Sheikh Ahmed Lemu in 2011. And why has government not been able to implement some of these recommendations that includes this present killings in Southern Kaduna?
Thank you for having me here once again. Well, first and foremost, it is important that we try to understand the history of the conflict, the crisis, and the violence in southern part of Kaduna. If you can recall, that part of the state has always been a theater of bloodshed and ethno-religious violence from the 80s through the 90s and the early 2000s. And towns and villages like Kafanchan, Zanguan Kataf, and several others within the southern flank of the state have suffered from that kind of mindless bloodshed and massacre. Now, it is important that we should differentiate and make a contrast between ethno-religious violence that comes with attacks and reprisals and what you have today, which is purely and simply terrorists raiding villages and killing innocent people. Government after government, commissions of inquiries have been set up, sometimes even tribunal, as we have seen in history. But that has not been able to remedy the situation. Then we should not confuse the ethno-religious violence that had happened in the last 3 to 4 decades with the fact that what is happening now in Southern Kaduna is bandits and terrorists raiding villages, raping women, killing women and children, burning people, and unleashing evil on innocent persons. Why has governments after government been unable to implement that? Well, I believe if you go back into history, you will see that what governments try to do in the past is try to see how simply they can extinguish the fire without institutionalizing processes, strategies, and institutions that will ensure that peace prevails and is sustained in that part of the state. So that is where the problem is. And whatever commission of inquiry or fact-finding committees you set up, as long as you don't entrench peace by institutionalizing processes of peace, you will continue to move from one crisis to another. It is wrong for people to say that the killings in Southern Kaduna is reprisal or revenge. It was not revenge. It may be revenge in the 80s and the 90s where Muslims and Christians are fighting each other, or the Katafs, the Hausas, the Fulanis are attacking each other. But these, the same terrorists attacking Zamfara, attacking Katsina, attacking Niger State, attacking Birningwari in Kaduna State, are the same people who are attacking innocent persons in Southern Kaduna. But the difference is that when they attack Katsina, they are condemned. When they attack Niger, they are condemned. When they attack Birningwari and Zamfara, they are condemned. But when the attack happens in southern part of Kaduna, they try to explain it by saying that it's an act of reprisal, which was not. It's simply terrorism and should be condemned as terrorism and nothing else.
Why is this so? Does it have some political undertones? Is it pure terrorism, like you're saying, or land grabbing? Because there are different conjectures.
Well,
to this
let me show you how this relates. It's not only peculiar to Southern Kaduna. Once terrorists attack villages, burn down houses, kill people, and people feel helpless, they are bound to move out of their villages and towns. From the borders of Kaduna State to Niger State, several villages, more than 50 to 60 of them, or even more than that, have all left their lands and have moved to the local government headquarters. Even in Zamfara, even in Katsina, terrorists have taken over land. So what is happening in Southern Kaduna is the same thing. Terrorists are killing innocent people, and it happens, the only difference is that Southern Kaduna is predominantly Christian, and they happen to be the victims of these killings. So it's not that the Christians are killing the Muslims, and now it is justified for an armed group to kill the Christians. The fact remains that they are victims of vicious forces that have become a state. It moved from cattle rustling, then to kidnapping, and now to massacre and atrocities, mindless killing of innocent persons, and then taking over of their land. So it is all interrelated.
Yes, it is interrelated. A section, the tension in Kaduna State, in Southern Kaduna, is very palpable. The Christian Association of Nigeria, for example, has issued a statement, to the effect that governments, the federal government, the state government, must stop these killings, whatever it takes.
Well, what they can said was not different from what Islamic groups are saying in Katsina, in Zamfara, in Niger, and in parts of Kaduna State where Muslims also dominate. The statement of Khan was apt. It is their people that were killed. It's their people that were raped. It's their children, their women that were killed. So the statement is a statement of fact that the state and the federal government that has the constitutional responsibility of protecting the people of Southern Kaduna are failing in that respect. All strategies, all operations, despite the presence of the police, civil defense, army, air force, and what have you, the killings are continuing. Blood are being shed every day whenever these things happen. The northwestern part of Nigeria has become one theater of bloodshed. Funeral, mourning, and bereavement have become a daily act and affair, and that is unfortunate. One of the most safest part of Nigeria is today a theater of killings and war. You can't move from Kaduna to Birdengwari to Niger State so easily. They stop you, they kidnap you, and they call your people to pay in millions. Farmers couldn't go to their farms. Many people, many big men, both retired generals and businessmen that have acquired lands from Kaduna to Niger to Zamfara have all abandoned their farms. So when people can't go to their farms, certainly there will be hunger. Just of recent, some few 5 to 6 days ago, a farmer in Odawa village, which is between Kaduna and Niger State, who has 4 wives and 12 children, was slaughtered when he went to his farm, when he was about to go to his farm. So this is just one out of so many things that have been happening. Okay. And the government has failed in this respect.
Okay, we're going to interrogate that more. Failure of government. Why is this so? You're still watching the Arise interview. Let's go on a short break. When we return, we'll be looking at the failings of government in arresting the the insecurity in Southern Kaduna and northwestern Nigeria. Stay with us. You're welcome back to the Arise interview. We're still live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I am Christian Ogdo. Thanks for staying with us. I have with me Senator Shehu Sani. He's a human rights activist, a politician, and a former senator in the 8th National Assembly. I asked earlier General John Eneche, the coordinator of defense media operations, if the Nigerian security forces are helpless in, tackling this terrorist bandits terrorizing Southern Kaduna and all the killings even in the northwestern region, with more than 70% of military institutions in Southern Kaduna. Why is this allowed to fester?
Well, the irony and the amazement with this is that these criminals that have been killing innocent people in the Northwest are not sophisticated group of people. They are motorcycle riders with AK-47. They move in groups, raid a village, and move back to the bush. Now you ask yourself, if we have such an army that has fought battles within the continent and without, since their formation, and such a country that is being seen to be a regional power in the world, how come have we stooped to this very level that we are finding it impossible to crush and extinguish the violence and the bloodshed by these riffraffs, as they can say? You see, some few days ago I was in Southern Kaduna, part of Southern Kaduna, and I was able also to converse with the people in that area. My understanding is that the forces that have always invaded, raided villages and killed people come from without the state. They are the same forces that kill people in Katsina, Sokoto, Zamfara, and Niger State. How has it come to this level that with the presence of military and police formations in Kaduna State, it becomes so impossible for these criminals to be tracked? Then it shows very well that it is either there is sabotage and conspiracy from those who are in charge of security with the criminals, or it is simply a case of failure in the leadership of our security apparatus in Nigeria. Now, there was a time the Kaduna Federal Airport Authority in Kaduna issued a statement that there will be no flight in the evening because of fear of bandits. They usually hide themselves from the airport to the city and attack passengers who have disembarked in the evening. Now, for someone who has not been to Kaduna, he will think that the airport and the city is about 100 kilometers away. But the airport, between the airport and the city, there is the Nigerian Defense Academy. And you wonder, and then after Nigerian Defense Academy, you have the Air Force Base. Then you ask yourself, how has it reached that level that criminals, bandits and terrorists can abduct passengers moving from the airport to Kaduna City? And look at the road between Abuja to Kaduna. There is no forest. So it's not like it's the jungle of Colombia or Vietnam or creeks like you have in Niger Delta, or it's mountainous as what you have in Spring Boulder in Afghanistan. It is flat land. Why can't we use the latest technology in detecting these people and killing them as in their own area of operation? It looks like the people in charge, the forces in charge of security, are acting in cahoot with these criminals. Or the people in charge of the leadership or security apparatus have virtually failed. And the call for the president to act is not about, because you see all this kind of grammar, we need to restructure our security apparatus, we need to re-engineer our security architecture, we need to reset our security structure. It's not about that. It's not about the apparatus, it's not about the structure, it's not about the architecture. It is about people that are manning those institutions, and they need to do what is right. If they fail, the president must act. Because I have always said it, whenever people are killed, when there is pervasive insecurity and breakdown of law and order, and criminals have taken up spaces and established their own, literally their own government in the bushes, it is the president, it is his image, it is his government. It is part of his legacy. After he is out of power, nobody will pinpoint and say this service chief has failed, whether army, whether air force, whether navy, or whether police or whatever. It is the president that has failed. And knowing that, nobody here is a service chief, but you have done your best, in quote, as he said. It is time for you to go. You are not there to do your best. You are there to do what is best for the country, to end the killings, the bloodshed, and restore law and order in ungovernable spaces.
Yes, it's becoming really ungovernable, I mean, with the spate of killings. And some people, some time ago, some of the governors went to, enter into a kind of bargain with these terrorists, giving them money and the rest to say to stop the killings. But it's unabated. Was that wise to have been done?
Well, you see, the idea of dialoguing with the bandits came after their thinking that they have failed in terms of using violence and state violence to crush them. But the weaknesses of that strategy is this. First of all, bandits and the kind of terrorists we have are not driven by any ideology. They simply want to kill, extort by kidnapping, collect ransom, unleash mayhem. So if you want to use the strategy of dialogue, as they are doing, to restore peace, first of all, you have to continuously oil the bandits with public funds. And then secondly, you also have to do everything you can to ensure that none of them is being caught and prosecuted. Now, these bandits are about money. So no matter how much you sit down to appeal to them, to urge them, to call on them to disarm and return back to civil life, they will not, because they are being motivated by criminality, by money, by extortion, by violence, and that is why it failed. Rather, the money that they gave them, they use it to purchase more arms and kill more people. It failed in Zamfara, it failed in Kaduna, and it failed in Katsina. In fact, it is now worse than what it used to be before they sat down and talked with those bandits.
What then would government be doing in 1 minute to regain, so sorry, distinguished Senator Shehu Sani, that it's time for us to go now. I hope we'll have more time to really interrogate this. But thanks very much for your well-considered thoughts on the subject matter.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's it for this edition of the Arise interview. Do remember to join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, goodbye and thanks for watching.